So recently, Kanye has been wilding on Twitter. He has been pissing on his Grammys. He has been leaking his contract. He has been tweeting over 100 times in an hour. It's really been a mess, but also super entertaining. But I think the most important thing that he had talked about, or that he was pointing at, is his newfound crusade to give every artist their masters back. And I think this is one of those things that sounds amazing, give the artists back the right to their art so that they can make the maximum amount of money off of what they will create. But the more you think about it, the more you will realize it's not that great. So first off, ever since the whole Lil Wayne Birdman thing for way back in the day, artists, especially rappers, have been going at their own record labels. Obviously, Wayne had a very good reason. Birdman was basically stealing his money. But since then, Uzi, Megan Thee Stallion, and a bunch of other rappers have been going at their labels. I think they sort of found out that if they went at their label, the big scary label with all the money and all the rights to their own shit, the fans, and I think just the general public, will always support them. That's because they have the face, they have the personality, people feel a connection to them, while the label is really nameless, faceless. It's easy to hate on it. And Kanye is the newest artist to join the fuck the label movement. And again, he wants his own masters back and wants to give back the masters to every artist. I don't think that's as good of an idea as that sounds, mostly because a lot of people don't really understand. I think if you're more into the business side of hip hop, you do understand that every artist has their own masters. Masters are not taken away, they are sold. When people sign to record labels, they sell the rights to their masters. And also, it's totally possible to sign without selling your masters. So really, if Kanye got back masters for all artists, most of them, not all, but I think most of them, or at least a big chunk, would just turn around and sell them again. And I know that people will bring up the idea that signing to a label is really required to make the music, so therefore artists are forced into signing and basically selling their masters. But that's not really true. It was definitely true in the 80s and 90s, when the biggest way to get your music out there was through radio, and it was basically the only way too. But now with Spotify and social media, many artists have grown massively without any playlisting or label support. I know people fucking despise 6ix9ine, but the man, even though he's signed, has no playlisting, has no radio, and he managed to get a number 1 and a number 2 record in just a couple of months. Also, again, I know he's despised basically, but it's worth looking at Russ, who, while he says a lot of outlandish shit, if you manage to filter through the bullshit, you will realize that this man is making hundreds of thousands of dollars just off of Spotify revenue every month. That's insane. Especially if you realize that Russ, while he's pretty famous and a pretty big artist, he's not massive by any means. He isn't selling multiple hundreds of thousands first week, nor is he charting on the Hot 100 with singles really that often. So if Russ can make those numbers, imagine somebody like Drake selling 800,000 first week, getting 3 number ones off of one album. Imagine the money that he could make just off of Spotify streams. I think it's also important to look at this whole situation from the label's point of view, which I know people hate the label because their main goal is to make money and their only goal, but really it's pretty much the same for artists too. Labels spend money on an artist, loads of money, in promotion, in tours, in merch, in music videos, everything. The masters that Kanye is trying to get back without paying for it is something that the artist sold for money to the label. Can you imagine signing up to Netflix for a year, and 6 months in, Netflix tells you, yeah, we know that you have only been subscribed for half a year, but we are canceling your subscription because we are not your slaves. We don't work for you. Also, I think Kanye has been going a bit too far with the hate on the label. He has been calling labels modern day slavery, which I think is super disrespectful. I mean, how can you compare being sold by other humans to somebody who you have to work for the rest of your life without anything in exchange, and who also treats you subhuman to selling your art that you want to sell. This is your decision, and you sell it for an agreed upon price. You can just be like, no, I won't accept that. And then in Kanye's case, becoming a millionaire or a billionaire off of it, superstar, world famous and everything, it's really uncomparable. Also, the last part that I want to talk about is Kanye has been talking about how contracts should be simplified, which is the perfect case of his mental state right now. This is something that sounds really good. You know, contracts are long, confusing. Sure, they're making a more compact and simple contract would be in everybody's favor, right? Well, not really. The thing is, if you simplify a contract, that means you have to omit details. You have to take out certain parts for it to be more simple. And again, I understand Kanye's idea that really all an artist wants from a contract is how much money they will get paid, what percentages will the label take from tours and merch, and also what will their royalties be. But if you decide to only include that in the contract and cut out certain parts, artists are gonna be fucked over left and right, because in the parts that they don't see and in the parts that they don't care to look for because the contracts are simplified, there can be certain clauses where, okay, you get really good money first week, everything is great, but if you don't sell over 100,000 copies first week from your debut album, maybe they will take 90% of everything. Simplified contracts could ruin the whole industry, and not for record labels but for artists. Contracts are as long and detailed, as confusing as they are, because they have to include everything. And as an artist, I think you are responsible that when you get a contract, you take it to a lawyer, pay them, and tell them to explain it to you what you will get out of this and what will they take from you in return. And if you can do that, I mean, record deals are signed for millions of dollars, but even in bad cases, tens of thousands of dollars. You should go to a lawyer and have them look over what you might sign in the future. Thank you for watching.